Yes, we're going to do that after this meeting. Here you go. Go ahead. Great. I just want to reiterate, as I stated earlier, I mentioned, Ernie's mentioned, but it's absolutely imperative that everybody appreciates the Peacemakers, a combination of many, many individuals that are here. It just happened that Ernie's name, I guess, was picked out of the hat, and my name was picked out of the hat for representing the sectors, and I'm certainly honored to be able to represent the sectors. But it certainly is a cooperative effort of many. I want to thank you all for attending. I'm very honored to be able to accept the the National Fisheries Recreation Award for Fraser River Peacemakers. I know many of you in the crowd have connections with Peacemakers, and your efforts are certainly greatly appreciated. Along with some others, as I mentioned, I've been here basically since inception of Peacemakers, and I had the opportunity and honored to serve as a co-chair for a number of years, and currently I'm co-chair of the Conflict Resolution Committee. But as I mentioned, I'm honored to speak for the rec community. I want to thank MP Terry Beach, Parliamentary Secretary of Fisheries Minister, for his participation today on the presentation. Appreciate you being here. Also Angela, where's Angela? Thank you very much for your efforts in MC, greatly appreciated. But a special thanks to Larry Davies, Strategic Media Relations. Where's Larry? Yeah, and Larry appreciates the challenges of getting this event up and running and coming to fruition today. So we really, really appreciate all your efforts. Okay. We, of course, MP Mark Strahl is here. I want to officially acknowledge Councillor Sam Waddington and MLA Laurie Thrunis. Thank you for attending. 10 years ago, I think as everybody appreciates, there was great suspicion and rancor between the Fraser River fishing sectors. The media referred to it at the time as Fraser River Fish Wars and the Summers of Discontent. Probably appropriate designations. The flashpoint, I guess, certainly was the altercation that most of you are aware between a respected Stainless chief and some recreational anglers. That threatened to blow into serious on-river confrontations and resulted in initial meetings. I know were attended, like the initial meeting, people like Ed George and others attended that initial meeting to see what could be done, and hopefully saner minds would prevail. Fortunately, the individuals from both First Nations and rec community got together and helped to diffuse potential violence in the river. The violence was a real possibility. And in essence, that was the origin of the Fraser River Peacemakers, which 10 years later continues today. An important part of the membership, of course, includes RCMP and DFO Conservation and Protection staff, and you people have been a big part of it. Thank you very much. Over the years, respectful meetings, the suspicions abated and replaced with better understanding of our respective fisheries. And I know that Ernie would agree that formerly media wars were conducted, and Ernie and I weren't exactly pen pals in the media, and that was replaced with some constructive dialogue, meaningful dialogue. And I know that Ernie would agree that our efforts have diffused many potential on-river conflicts over the years. Peacemakers initiated significant education programs toward understanding and adopted a program referred to as Harmony on the Coast. Safety issues, of course, have been also very, very important in relation to both our fisheries on the Fraser. We can most certainly appreciate, we're not naive, we certainly can appreciate that we've not solved all the problems by any means. Much more work to be done, but we do believe that we have made a difference on the Fraser River. I personally am extremely proud of the efforts of both First Nations and the recreation community, and I'm extremely proud on behalf of the Fraser River Peacemakers to receive this award today. We are proud of the longevity of Peacemakers and the unique role that it plays in North American fisheries relations. We have offered our services to other areas of BC where similar challenges do exist. We appreciate we still have extremely serious challenges facing the fisheries, but we do remain optimistic that Peacemakers will continue to be held out as a great example of former adversaries working together in common cause. We sincerely appreciate the anticipated assistance of DFO in ensuring support for our respective fisheries and providing the required leadership. We're counting on it. We hope to see more support from DFO toward cooperative efforts to turn our communities. I want to thank you all and for your continued support for safe, respectful fisheries for our respective children and grandchildren. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see all of you here. As I look around the room, I can see many folks here that I've worked with, in some instances down through the decades, in other cases over a decade at least, and people that I actually continue to hope I can work with over the years to come. The fishery has changed dramatically. We don't see the fish runs that we once saw in the Fraser River. This is not to say that the runs can't be restored, that we can't look forward to improved seasons ahead of us where there's a lot of fish for everyone. Fundamentally, and at the root of Peacemakers, of course, as Rod has pointed out, was folks in different fishing communities, if I can phrase it as such, not having a good relationship, or really not having much of a relationship at all. So in the group that was ultimately to become the Peacemakers, yes, we took a long, hard look at our relationship, and we decided that things needed to be done differently. I don't think there's any one specific instance that I have in mind, although the one that's commonly pointed to is a young Stehewas chief and a shooting incident on the Fraser River, for sure. That galvanized our interest, and we persuaded ourselves to meet about it. And as I recall, we met in Ricky's restaurant in Chilliwack, and we talked about it. And we talked about what we might need to do to address the issue of conflict on the river. Now, conflict can take the shape of an actual physical encounter, and we had those. Conflict can also be a deep, residing, abiding interest in different groups that somehow, both of them, or one of them, is being treated unfairly. And that fuels resentment. So we knew we needed to address the issue of potential actual physical contact, but fundamentally where I was concerned was the relationship between the Stalo people and our brothers and sisters in the recreational fisheries. My goal really remains, how can we improve our working relationship with one another? How can we get along better on the river? What is it that we need to do? What are the old resentments that we need to address? And see if we can't resolve. That is fundamental to the approach that I had in mind. And I was delighted over time to find that I had friends, associates in the recreational fishery that had the same feelings, wanted to address these issues. And you need a willing partner to do that. So some of the recreational folks reached out to me and other First Nations leaders in the Fraser Valley here, and we started to deal with it. And of course, we in turn reached out to them. Now, we're talking about a conservation award here. And I have to mention this before I allow you to go and have a meal. I know you're hungry.
Yeah.
Rod and I, yes, we addressed the whole issue of what was transpiring on the river, but we went actually further than that. We responded to the residents of Chilliwack in the Fraser Valley who were concerned about the health of the river. And so Rod and I took a lead role. I don't say we were the only leaders, but we took a lead role, and some of you will remember this. There was a recycler that wanted to set up on the banks of the Fraser River, not far from here downriver. It gave a lot of concern to the residents of Chilliwack, people with environmental sensitivities, conservation-minded people, that wouldn't be the best place for an operation like that. We didn't say it shouldn't be anywhere in the Fraser Valley. We just took the position that it shouldn't be in the place it was because it was right on the riverbanks. And I still say this is probably true on the banks of a river that carries a wide variety of salmon species, and probably is a single river, the largest today, remaining to this day, the largest salmon-bearing stream or river probably in North America, anywhere in the world. That's a treasure. And so we were able to find time, apart from dealing with issues of conflict on the river, to also reach out and address environmental needs and issues here on the lower Fraser River. And I was really proud to work with Rod and many others to make sure that that project didn't see the light of day. And it didn't. It didn't. So I'm proud of that accomplishment. But I want to say too, as I look out this afternoon and see people here, I'm really happy to see Laurie Throness, who is my MLA. And I can tell you this, that when Chiam has issues, we've got an MLA that's going to address those issues as quickly as possible. I'm also glad to see young Mr. Strahl here. I'm glad to see you at these events. I hope to see you at future events. I really appreciate your presence in the Fraser Valley and the important role you play in Ottawa on behalf of the citizens of Chilliwack, the greater Chilliwack area. And of course, Tiller Beach, I'm delighted that I finally got to meet you. And I'm really happy that we reached this day where we can actually see the award and the acknowledgements that so many people in this room richly deserve, apart from Rod and myself, are able to enjoy in this day, in this particular moment. There are so many people in the room, and maybe this is where I'll end some of my comments, that have contributed down through time. Don Simpson, who's with the Lower Fraser Fisheries Alliance there, has done yeoman's work. He ensures that notices of our meetings are out, that minutes are kept, and that accounting for the funds that we receive are done. He's done a terrific job for us. The Peacemakers themselves, and George and Lee and others, down through these past 7 or 8 years, I'd be hard pressed to think of a group of gentlemen that I'd I've so much enjoyed working with them. As Ed has pointed out to me, that very first meeting we had at the Ricky's restaurant, we actually ended off the day, and he's proud of pointing this out as well, that we shifted from the issues of conflict and the like to being grandfathers. So we spent some time meeting and talking with each other about our grandchildren, so I'm proud to be doing that. Also, and this is where I'll end it. The other relationship that I want to transform significantly is our relationship with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. And we've gotten to the point now where Mike Fraser is sitting right there, and his colleagues, and the RCMP, but particularly where it comes to the fishery, where Chiam is starting to work on its relationship with the Department of Fisheries. You know, the Aboriginal people talk about the right to fish, and so some of our people go out and fish. But where I've become concerned is that if you do that, and you have the backing of the community, and you go out and fish, that what we don't need to hear and see is rancorous confrontation on the river. If you're asserting a right to fish, do that if you have the backing of your community. When you get out in the water and the department begs to differ, they'll come along and they'll simply do their job. But what I don't want to see is physical confrontation between my community members and the officers. So even after today's luncheon, the ceremony and luncheon, of course, DFO and I are retiring over to Chiang to talk about this vitally important relationship we have, one with the other, the community of Chiang, and DFO, who has the principal, the primary responsibility to not only manage the fishery resource, but to take on other associated activities such as compliance and enforcement. So I'm going to be around for the next 17 months as the chief of Chiang. I'm committed to improving that relationship. And I'm also interested in seeing the ongoing relationship between folks, and it may not include me as often as it did in the past because I've taken on other responsibilities, can I put it that way, that I have to tend to, but I'll make sure that somebody from Chiang is at Peacemakers meetings where I can't be, but I'm still committed to the work of Peacemakers, and as Rod has so eloquently explained, there's more work to do. There's a lot of work ahead of us. And I've been proud to be associated with it in the recent past, and I'll be happy to continue that relationship as the chief of Chiang and an ongoing member of the Peacemakers. So with that, thank you very much everyone for showing up. I'm really happy to see each and every one of you here. Thanks, Jim.
So we're going to let everybody enjoy this wonderful scenery and this wonderful food. We have 2 medals, one for each of you. And then we also have, because it is a group effort, a medal for the Peacemakers organization.